he got owned so hard 2 minutes in that the comments are like, the entire island of England is fallen. That's crazy. This is why England has fallen, because they're not patriotic and they didn't respect you, Charlie. I do want to watch this one debate where Charlie Kirk says this guy is bouncy. And I want to compare that to my performance at Cambridge, because Cambridge, unlike Oxford, was way more debate lordy. Some of the questions that they asked me, I think, were very silly. Obviously, I think that because I'm biased and too afraid of addressing the truth. I do want to watch how they dunked on Charlie, though. I will say, it is the reason why I think they were debate lordy with me is because it was clear when you look at the questions that like they sent my way on my Cambridge speech. It was very, I think that, how do I describe it? It was silly shit. It was like they didn't disagree with me. They just like had issues with optics or whatever, right? Whereas like with Charlie, there's obviously a disagreement, like a significant disagreement with what he's saying. It was super nitpicky. Like it wasn't a real contest. It wasn't like a real, here's what I think is wrong about what you've said. It was more so, here's what I've misunderstood about your point because I was duped by a clip compilation. Did your vid include those questions? That was Oxford. The last one that I posted was Oxford, but my Cambridge video is on my YouTube page because we live streamed it. Cambridge, where is it? Oh my God. I looked up Hasan Piker Cambridge Union, and my video on my f***ing channel doesn't even come up until the last part. But yeah, this is like most of the speech, and then the rest of it is like people asking me questions. The people at Cambridge respected you to some degree. No, you mean Oxford? Well, yeah, there were plenty of very respectful students. But I'm saying that, yeah, why are 60 view videos coming up before me? Like, what the f***? No disrespect to the clips compilation, but this is crazy for YouTube. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 videos come up before my original video, and literally 4 of those 5 videos have 18, 24, 27, and 41 views.
Care about faith, family, and freedom. Listen up. I'm proud to partner with...
Okay, I don't care about that. All right. So this is...
Good evening, Mr. Kirk. You've obviously devoted...
I tried searching your vids and Asmongold comes up. Yeah, he talks about me more than I talk about myself, so that makes sense.
Electing, keeping in power Donald Trump. And you did so partly because you said Trump would put Americans first and take them out of foreign conflicts. Should we see how that is going at the moment? Currently, Trump has just accepted a $400 million debt from Qatar, which we're assured is perfectly above board. Billions in arms are going to Saudi Arabia, which they're using to bomb and starve Yemeni children. Not sure how that's in the interest of the United States, but it might be in the interest of the $5.5 billion deal.
Yeah, when I debated him, he had not become the president yet. He is now the president. And also, when I debated him, he literally had almost the exact diametrical opposite viewpoints that he is presenting here right now. So I don't know what happened. I genuinely, I'm actually very interested in finding out what happened. Like if he had a real change of heart, or if he's just like a guy who loves debating. It makes sense. I mean, he is now the president of the Cambridge Union debate club. He'll still say he hates Hamas at the end, I think. Okay. Maybe. But even then, Charlie also got cooked by a professor. Yeah. I don't know if I should be offended, but no professor showed up to debate me. But professors were coming in to debate this man. All right, let's keep going.
Receiving. At the same time, this great president of peace has greenlit mass killings not just in Yemen, but in Gaza, where he greenlit an invasion called Operation Gideon's Chariot, with the express aim of wiping out the Gazan population. You promised to put America first. Haven't you and your ilk sold America out?
He's shaking.
No. Well, I'm glad you have great intellectual substance.
Oh my God, he is not happy. Yo, what the hell? Yo, you can't get bitched by fucking Ron Weasley, dog. God damn. This is like This is like Revenge of the Nerds. This is like when the college students bite back. You know what I mean? Because normally he has editorial control over this process, and he goes to college campuses and he just like basically talks over a bunch of college students who only have a couple seconds to say whatever they want. But all of a sudden, when they have like a real back and forth, but your debate wasn't this configuration, right? It was Q&A. It was Q&A, yes. I think that's probably the reason. Should I do another one of these, but this time in a debate style, debate format? A 90-pound over-caffeinated student making Charlie lose it? He is cooking.
And can answer. Because it's all the culture for you, isn't it? The second someone actually tells you what you're doing, which is bread.
Can you calm down a little bit? Like, just a little bit. You're pounding the table, you're all over the place. No. You want me to go piece by piece? Or would you like me to talk slower?
I think you can.
Number one, Donald Trump is convening a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine. Joe Biden gave them armaments.
That's going well, isn't it? It's going well.
Can you not interrupt me?
Well.
I allowed you to talk uninterrupted.
You're famous for not interrupting.
Yeah, I haven't interrupted.
Ooh, he has the room. Ron Weasley's got the room at the tip of his fingers. Okay? That is, oh my God, he's getting mogged. Oh my God. Oh my God, what are the comments saying? If by me voting for Trump is not turning the UK, then I voted wisely. I'm an Englishman and also a ginger. I'm so embarrassed by this fool. Oh my God, dude, come on. Come on. Oh God, lobotomy. Right-wingers have been, there is no way. There is no way you look at this back and forth, even from the jump, and feel as though Charlie has any stage presence here. He got owned so hard 2 minutes in that the comments are like, the entire island of England has fallen. That's crazy. This is why England has fallen, because they're not patriotic and they didn't respect you, Charlie.
A single person here today. Can I speak uninterrupted, actually? Okay. He is convening a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine. I believe we will see an end to that. Number two, he's actually talking to Iran and discouraging Israel to strike the interior of Iran, and has stopped many other international countries to do the same. Number three, can you give him credit for ending the Indian-Pakistan war?
Both of them said he didn't do that.
Well, hold on a second.
Let's go back.
No, that's important.
Russia, Ukraine.
Hold on, that's important.
Can I speak now?
Yes, but the Indian-Pakistan thing, you got to go deeper than that.
You got to go deeper than that. Okay, both parties said Trump was not involved. I mean, even if he was, I don't really care. Like, okay, good, he did that. Except that happened afterwards. That wasn't even a campaign promise. So that's not the point that I don't want to call him Ron Weasley over and over again, that the debate club president is saying here. Okay,
let's go in order. Is a peace summit where the main person in question, Russia, doesn't show up, is that a success, Mr. Kirk?
I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure.
Is that a success?
Well, again, these are ongoing negotiations.
No, dude, Vladimir Putin is literally destroying Donald Trump. There is no defense here for Charlie. Charlie is already on the back foot. There is nothing he can say here that makes sense. The only thing he can say is, well, Joe Biden was worse, right? Like, at least he's trying to do a peace deal. Joe Biden never even tried to do a peace deal or something, to which you can still respond with, well, it's still a failure. So maybe what Joe Biden was doing wasn't that much worse than what Trump is doing. And it's just, there's no defense. Putin is destroying Trump. What do you mean by that? What do you think I mean by that? Donald Trump's analysis of the situation is, oh, I'm going to come in and I'm going to actually stop this day one. Okay. Ridiculous, bold claim to make. Obviously, everyone laughed at it. But what is this? Charlie leaves Cambridge feminists resorting to insults? Oh my God. Everything he uploaded, he was like, I'm not owned, licking his wounds. This was the other girl that actually asked me some questions as well. She was asking me about work.
And it's a lot better than when your prime minister, Boris Johnson, went alongside our to Istanbul and unnecessarily blew up a potential
I believe that was Antalya, not Istanbul, but it's okay.
Peace deal.
Turkey's at the table. Turkey is the table. Turkey mentioned.
Which has resulted in hundreds of thousands of dead Ukrainians, one of the great unnecessary wars of the modern era. Donald Trump believes in conversation and police through strength. He has been president for well over 120 to 130 days, and he has already ended a war between two nuclear conflicts of India-Pakistan. He has secured our own U.S. southern border while we were being invaded by foreign powers. And thirdly, he is brokering a potential settlement with Iran that will prevent a major escalation in the Middle East. And finally, it is very difficult difficult, but I believe they'll get it done, that will finally see an end to the Russian-Ukrainian war.
I'm just going to disregard the enormous lies you just put out there about Russia and Ukraine. Okay. But do you really think leverage, negotiation...
I don't, yeah, he is, okay, he is a little bit of a NATO guy. I mean, not a little bit. He is definitely like a NatSec lib. Like what Charlie said there about Boris Johnson nuking the 15-point ceasefire plan has been discredited by like Atlantic Council types. But overall, there is enough information at this point. There's enough information at this point to suggest that like there was definitely a lot of confidence given to the Ukrainian position in that back and forth that allowed Zelensky to say no to a potential ceasefire. Having said that, we don't even know if Vladimir Putin would have followed through on that ceasefire, considering the fact that this round of ceasefire negotiations has basically been Vladimir Putin playing the long game and using the fact that there's a negotiation even happening to consistently cut off American aid to Ukraine.
Work if you cut off all your leverage and scream at one party in the Oval Office. Don't you think that has just emboldened Russia?
And he's right about this as well. The notion that, oh, did Boris Johnson help stop a peace deal in Ukraine? A recent piece in Foreign Affairs revealed that Kyiv and Moscow may have a tentative deal to end the war all the way back in April. I assume this says no, right? Because this is from September, and more information came out of how the tentative ceasefire deal fell apart a year after that. This is from September of 2022. The the deal was on the table in April of 2022, shortly after the immediate success of Ukrainian defenses that was able to force the Russian position to withdraw all the way back to the east of the Dnieper River. At that point, Ukraine had the maximum leverage. And one of the things I said back then was this is the best opportunity to implement a ceasefire negotiation. And a lot of people yelled at me. There was a 15-point plan that was put on the table. And actually, it was a very intelligent plan that Zelensky had crafted that I gave much credit to Zelensky over, where he even said on one of the 15 bullet points that the Crimea annexation conversation should be left up to a referendum a decade down the line, right? That is as close to a democratic way of not having to deal with this hot potato that is going to be very unpopular. Okay? And then Boris Johnson intervened. To say, we have maximum support for you. We will give you all the weapons you need. You have the full backing of Western nations, and you will be able to purge Russians from your ranks. Just, don't fuck with this deal. Don't do it. Ukraine never had leverage like that since that moment. Biden, not Boris. No, Boris Johnson doesn't behave on his own. Obviously, he is an envoy of American interests in that conversation. I'm sure that he didn't personally destroy the deal on his own when Biden was totally on board with cutting together a ceasefire negotiation. That's not how these things work. So saying Boris kind of absolves Biden of responsibility, no, it does not. Nothing that Boris Johnson does is without the go-ahead, or nothing that any European leadership does in terms of dealing with Ukraine, in terms of dealing with Russia, without America's go-ahead. Ukraine is a proxy for American interests, and every other country, every other European leader that's backing Ukraine is a vassal. It's a NATO formation. It is the entire purpose of NATO to begin with. I mean, look at what's happened so far with Donald Trump in office and what he has done to bully all of our foreign partners. And look at their response so far. They have not even designed any kind of attempt at sovereignty.
Russia. Because look at the approach. Putin thinks so much of your glorious president, he can't even be asked to show up. You have elected, or help elect, somebody who is at best an idiot and at worst is deeply corrupt.
Okay, again, so Trump and Putin had a 2-hour phone call today. You'll acknowledge that's a good thing. The pursuit of peace can sometimes be a winding road, and it's a lot better than sending hundreds of billions of dollars further into the killing fields of eastern Ukraine, something that tragically both the UK government and
Exclusive. Ukraine president says British prime minister had nothing to do with the decision not to seek deal with Russia. Volodymyr Zelensky has rubbished claims that Boris Johnson scoopered a possible deal between Ukraine and Russia in spring 2022, calling them illogical. There were several approaches with ultimatums, and I never gave my approval for it, says Zelensky of Russian demands for ending its full-scale invasion. Johnson had nothing to do with this decision. Directly addressed the claims for the first time. It doesn't fit with logic. What was he supposed to be talking us out of? The story of Johnson's visit was and the supposed lost chance for peace may seem like a historical detail, but has fresh relevance as Donald Trump seeks to do a deal to end the war. Okay, Gaia, place. Okay, then it was dumb for him to nuke this 15-point plan. Clearly, I don't know why he's falling on his own sword here, proverbially, but okay, you know. The Kremlin has used the Johnson story to suggest that Ukraine turned down a peace deal on Western orders early in the war. Johnson himself has previously called the claims Russian propaganda. The then British Prime Minister made a surprise visit to Kyiv in April 2022, 6 weeks after the start of the Russia's full-scale invasion. He walked through the streets of Kyiv with Zelensky and publicly affirmed British support. The idea that Johnson also used the visit to ensure Ukraine did not sign a peace agreement with Russia first emerged in an article in the respected Ukrainska Pravda outlet in May 2022, which said that Ukrainian and Russian negotiators had agreed on a broad possible agreement after a meeting in Istanbul in late March. A week later, Johnson arrived with a message. Putin is a war criminal. He needs to be pressured, not negotiated with, according to one of the outlet's sources. In November 2023, David Arakamia, a member of Zelensky's own negotiating team in Istanbul, appeared to lend the idea credence. These are the reasons why I believe that this is the truth, by the way. This is what I said when I said, like, oh, a year after the fact, there was more information that came out. Boris Johnson came to Kyiv and said that we would not sign anything with them at all and let's just fight, he said in a November 2023 interview. Russian sources seized on these words, ignoring another part of the interview, which Arakima said that the Ukrainian delegation had not planned to sign anything in any case. In an interview with Tucker Carlson last year, Putin brought up the story, claiming it showed the West had pushed Ukraine further into the war. It seems very sad that they followed the orders of the request of Mr. Johnson. We could have ended the military actions over a year and a half ago. For the record, I do want to mention something here, and this is important to recognize. There is no proof that Russia would have actually followed through on the ceasefire negotiations. Make no mistake. I am not saying that at all. I'm simply saying that they have less leverage now than they did back then to facilitate a ceasefire negotiation. And without leverage on the battleground specifically, there is no real commitment to a ceasefire, as evidenced by the fact that Russia keeps stringing Trump along, as evidenced by the fact that Vladimir Putin keeps stringing Trump along with a fake negotiation that he knows Trump would love to bring back as a W to his base, to America, to all the Western countries. And by doing so, his conditions are to basically cause America to sever ties with Ukraine and to no longer offer any defense capabilities to Ukraine. That is his tactic here. What he is doing right now, what Vladimir Putin is doing right now, is to basically take advantage of Trump's stupidity and also his obvious interest in getting one foreign policy W here. So it's not, so the likes of Charlie Kirk don't have to run around and be like, well, you stopped India and Pakistan from doing the nuclear holocaust, you know, because there's no W's at this moment for foreign policy. And he knows that. Vladimir Putin knows that. So he's basically stringing him along and all the while still continuing a westward expansion. Putin likes the story a lot about Turkey. These meetings, says Zelensky during an hour-long interview with The Guardian. In fact, says Zelensky, the real pressure to sign a deal had already been dissipated by the time Johnson arrived in April, and Russian forces had already been pushed out of the suburbs of Kyiv. Early on, there were people who wanted to kill me. There were shots fired, and in parallel, there was the ultimatum and phone calls from different people. Ukrainian and Russian negotiators held several rounds of talks in Belarus and in Turkey, with the conditions demanded by the Russians were always punishing. I said, this cannot be. It violates the rights of our citizens, of the Constitution. It would be a full betrayal. We will not submit to the ultimatums of Putin, Zelensky claimed. Simon Schuster, a journalist who has written the biography of Zelensky, said he believed the Ukrainian president was serious in late March about trying to meet with Putin and negotiate an end to the war based on a draft agreement reached in Istanbul. However, key questions of territorial status were left unaddressed by the negotiators, And as the discussions were ongoing, the scale of atrocities in Bucha and other towns were revealed as the Russian forces withdrew from around Kyiv, prompting horror and fear in Ukraine, making any deal much less palatable. Perhaps even more problematic was the fact that although several Western politicians urged Ukraine to make a deal, none was willing to provide security guarantees to back it up. Ukraine was left to rely on Russia's word after Bucha. That seemed like a bad idea. Plus, Ukraine had just achieved a big military victory, and Zelensky wanted to keep that momentum going on the battlefield. Boris encouraged him, but he was one relatively minor factor among many. Okay, this literally, oh my God. Why are you a NATO baby now? I am not a NATO baby at all, but it is so fucked up that this entire article is basically saying like, no, Zelensky made a bad decision. He made a really bad decision. It was actually all his decision. There was no outside pressure, even though there were some conversations taking place about how much Western forces could support Ukraine. What happened is the Ukrainians were tactically winning in Kherson for like 2 months, and they became overhyped and started praising Boris for having prolonged the war. Then they thought that Boris had given them victory by telling them not to do a ceasefire. By the way, a town in Ukraine actually named a street after Boris Law. What? I think that it wasn't necessarily a lie as far as like, the capabilities of Ukraine. I think people were just wrong in their analysis. They thought that Russia, after getting pushed back, and I don't think that was a feint, because Z pushers will say that was a feint, that Russia never wanted to take Kyiv and that they simply wanted to permanently annex eastern Ukrainian territory. I think that is myth-making after the fact, okay? They were not feinting when they did that. They actually had ambitions, and the Ukrainian defenses were far better than they had suspected it would be, especially considering the performance in 2014 when the Ukrainian standing military was ascetic and virtually non-existent in comparison to the position that it had in 2022. So I think that there was definitely a lot of confidence in Ukraine's capabilities, but then there was definitely a lot of pressure as well, as far as like pressures internally, like Zelensky also reveals here, like Ukrainians would kill me if I actually abided by any of these like ultimatums, and also Western leadership basically whispering into Zelensky's ear that they would continue. Why should we even get invested into this onto war? I mean, if we're being serious about this, there are very valid reasons. Or not very valid reasons, but like there are real reasons that Vladimir Putin has pushed in terms of American involvement and intervention in Ukraine leading up to its invasion. Okay, but the reality of the matter is, a responsible leader would not invade Ukraine militarily and instead use economic pressure points that it already had, knowing full well that Ukraine was never going to be allowed into fucking NATO anyway, to continue this stressful position that is valid from a realpolitik perspective. Like, Russia understandably does not want NATO to be directly within striking distance of Moscow. That is an understandable desire from any nation state, okay? Especially one that was completely fucking destroyed by the United States of America and Western forces during the Cold War, with battle scars that have not yet healed, okay? Having said that, once fucking Russia invades Ukraine, then all bets are off. Not only have you justified the existence of NATO, not only did you get Finland and Sweden to join NATO, but also on top of that, what are people supposed to do? Europeans genuinely do fucking fear Russian incursion. They do. And when you behave like an irrational monster, then it's understandable for them to fucking fear Russian incursion. Why wouldn't they fear it? The only thing that's stopping further going into European territory at that point is not like Vladimir Putin's restraint or whatever. Clearly, he is not a restrained person at all. But the only thing that's stopping them is military might. The very fact that they can't move beyond the positions that they've established in eastern Ukraine is the only thing that's basically stopping them from going to the border of Poland at this point. Like, that's understandable. That is understandable for European, especially Eastern European countries, to be fearful of this sort of action when Vladimir Putin has proven that he is willing to entertain this military option. This is not me being pro-NATO. I am obviously anti-NATO. But this is, you know, you can't also give NATO any credit whatsoever by behaving this way. And Vladimir Putin is giving credit to NATO by behaving this way. But it's very obvious that as someone who believes in no war, as someone who wants a ceasefire to be implemented, currently as it stands, the party that's fucking up the ceasefire talks is not the Ukrainian side. Not only is Zelensky literally the American proxy in this, he has been ritualistically humiliated on the fucking global stage for being aligned with Democrats and for Donald Trump basically behaving as though this is not American foreign policy that's uniparty, but simply the Democrats' pet project in Ukraine. And that's the reason why it even happened to begin with, while also undermining its own proxy in the fucking negotiations process, forcing them into a deal that robs the limited amount of natural resources that they have. And on top of that, is very clearly being strung along by Vladimir Putin, who has no interest in actually getting a ceasefire done right now until perhaps maybe the end of the summer after he takes additional territory. I feel like Vladimir Putin is gearing up for a little bit more of it, like a little bit more incursion into eastern Ukraine. Either he will try to take over 4 additional territories that it wanted with this ceasefire negotiation, which was a ridiculous red line. I think that understandably Zelensky and everyone should say no to. Okay, but it's really difficult for me to act like Vladimir Putin is not the bad guy here. It's fucking ridiculous. I mean, he was already the bad guy when he invaded, but he's the extra bad guy now because he's basically trying to get and successfully getting Trump to cut off aid to Ukraine, military aid to Ukraine, while simultaneously claiming that he's going to actually turn around and do a ceasefire when he's not interested in it at all. It's fucked up. I think. I mean, the future of Ukraine is bleak no matter what. But I think that basically the only possible solution to this would have been normalizing relations with China and trying to get China to the table and implement like the Chinese Brazil plan for with a peacekeeping mission and a ceasefire in Ukraine. Because it is obvious that you cannot get anything out of Vladimir Putin. I think it's a miscalculation that dumb fuck Donald Trump thinks Vladimir Putin actually thinks that dumb fuck Donald Trump thinks Vladimir Putin actually likes him or respects him. He does not. Vladimir Putin is way smarter than Donald Trump. Are you fucking kidding me? He's been the leader of Russia for what? How many decades been the fucking leader of Russia? Of course he's way smarter than Donald Trump. Donald Trump's a fucking dumbass real estate fail son. He is so easy to manipulate. He is so unimaginably easy to manipulate. All you need to do is like, you know, tell him a couple nice things about how powerful he is and how his hair looks hot or whatever the fuck. And then Trump will be like, yeah, I hate Zelensky. Zelensky never said my hair looks good. Zell Disney. He doesn't know how powerful I can be.
And the U.S. government has been unnecessarily supporting for a couple of years. President Trump wants to see a brokerage, an ending of this settlement. I pray we can get it. It's very complicated because of the mess that Joe Biden left, which was an active...
Oh, come on, dude. Oh, okay.
...kinetic war with a nuclear power sending American-made missiles into the interior of Russia. So President Trump has already ended a war. He's ended an invasion. He's only 130 days into this. And I believe, we do not know. At this point, we are merely speculating, which I think we should not spend our time doing that, because eventually one of us will be right. I believe we'll be right, and I believe we'll see an end to this war.
Yeah, let's just stop speculating, because this issue makes me look bad, because it makes Trump not look like the great peacekeeper, because I have to maintain this mirage. This idea that Trump is actually doing his very best and is not a fucking bumbling moron.
We just talk about $100 billion's worth of weapons, because you dodged my question on what was going on in the Middle East, where Trump has just signed enormous arms contracts with Saudi Arabia and with Qatar. And I noticed you ignored the fact that this might have had anything to do with the blatant corruption going on through the Trump coin and going on through giving the very competent sons of Donald Trump billions of investment from Saudi Arabia and Qatar. This is something that is directly embroiling Americans into conflict, but is importantly killing many innocent people. Those nations have been known to terrorize innocent civilian populations. So if you're coming to me and you're objecting to America selling weaponry, why are you defending shilling for the Saudis?
Well, hold on. One is sending weaponry, one is purchasing. Secondly, you do know that the biggest purchase that was announced was commercial airliners, 737, $100 billion. You've heard of Qatar Airways. They purchased $100 billion of commercial airways. You are right, there were some weapons contracts. But I guess the question is, would you rather have Saudi Arabia buy weapons from America or China?
I'd rather they not have American weaponry at cut price rates.
See, I disagree.
Let's talk about Qatar for a second.
Okay, fine.
Because you mentioned Qatar. You've been...
Oh, God, I hate this. First of all, here, let me just say something here, okay? The idea that, like, we have no capacity to limit what kind of weaponry Saudi Arabia is supposed to get is so stupid. What do you mean? Oh, would you rather have them get weapons from us or China? Like, there's no... You're acting like America has no say. America's small bean, okay? America fucking small bean around the planet all of a sudden. Like, which is it? Is America the most powerful nation on the planet, or is it just a small bean that has no say in this process? If it was so easy, then fucking weapons from China or even from Russia at the same time as the United States of America. Like, beyond NATO, America has a fuck ton of power and fuck ton of influence. If they didn't want Saudi Arabia to militarize, they could stop them from doing so. But obviously, they don't care. They want Saudi Arabia to militarize because they want Saudi Arabia to work in their interest in the region to prop up better defenses for Israel, for example, or to destroy potential enemies of Israel, for example, like in Yemen.
Been talking a lot about Hamas and the evils of Hamas. Can I ask you, who's the main funder of Hamas?
Well, the Palestine...
Oh, God, this argument. Yeah. He's going to say Qatar is the main funder of Hamas.
Well, the West actually funds Hamas.
Which state?
Well, Iran funds...
No.
Also,
where are the Hamas leaders?
And also Qatar funds Hamas.
Oh, God. Oh, brother. I want to debate both of them. I want to debate Charlie on this, and I want to debate him on this, too. Yay. The idea that Qatar is a major funder of Hamas is literally just verbatim silly Israeli propaganda, okay? Yes, there has to be a place where there has to be neutral territory where the envoys of Hamas can have dealings, negotiations with Israeli negotiators, okay? Qatar is the perfect place for this because they are technically neutral, okay? Unlike all of the other Gulf nations that are super pro-Israel, both openly and also in private, Qatar, at the very least, is still pro-Israel, but maintains neutrality when it comes to offering territory where people can fucking have these back and forth negotiations. Okay? That's it. It's so stupid to be like, Qatar is actually a major funder of fucking Hamas. It's like, okay, you know who else is a major funder of Hamas then? Benjamin Netanyahu. Like, what are we doing here? No, it's so dumb. Qatar is basically the Switzerland of the Gulf states. I like your chances a little better now than the first two times. What do you mean? Parker via Kirk 3? Oh, yeah. I might actually have some cooking up where I might be talking to Charles Jebediah Kirk. Okay. Anyway, the whole like influence peddling thing that Qatar did this time around is not because they want Donald Trump to actually offer a more favorable deal to Hamas. I wish that was the case. Oh my God. I wish that the Qatari leadership actually gave this plan to be like, Mr. President, you have to stop this genocide. Oh my God, I would love that. I would literally fly to Qatar and kiss the fucking feet of the Emirates there. Okay, do you understand? I would kiss the leadership's feet if that was the actual fucking case. No, the real reason why they did this is because last time they didn't do this when Trump was president, and they almost got fucking bombed into oblivion by UAE and Saudi Arabia, because when Jared Kushner was going to the fucking region and basically going, hey, I have a bunch of properties that I need to offload to somebody. Can you bribe me, please? Qatar was the only country that was like, no, what? I don't understand. Why would we do that? That doesn't seem very cash money. That doesn't seem very, Western interest, Western liberal democracy to us. Is this a fucking trick? And when they didn't do that, when they did not do that, was literally planning on turning Qatar into a fucking island. Okay? Literally. I'm not even joking about this. They wanted to build a canal so that Qatar turned into a fucking island. They wanted to put the rest of the Gulf nations immediately were like, all right, we can do whatever the fuck we want to Qatar because they're not protected by the Trump administration. So this time around, and that only was stopped, I believe, by Pompeo or Tillerson. I can't remember now. But this is something I've talked about before. There was an Intercept report on this back in the day when it actually fucking happened. I talked about this when the plane stuff first took place. Do you guys not remember? It was so silly. It was like Looney Tunes shit. Anyway, the reason why Qatar this time gave money to the Trump administration, gave this bribe to the administration, is because they were like, that's just how people play ball. Okay? That's just how people fucking play ball. Because it's nothing. $400 million is nothing for them. What do you mean? Everybody's paying the piper. That's it. That's the only reason. I wish it was for peace in Palestine. I wish. But that is not the case. But of course, people who get their news from mainstream resources that just like literally verbatim repeat whatever the fuck Israel says. Rex Tillerson stopped Saudi and UAE from attacking Qatar. Former U.S. Secretary of State reportedly prevented Saudi troops from attacking his Gulf neighbor. Yeah, this was Intercept's investigative reporting. The plan involves Saudi ground troops crossing the land border into Qatar and with military support from the UAE advancing 100 kilometers inland and seizing the Qatari capital. Based on information it said it received from current member of U.S. intelligence community and two former State Department officials, the Intercept said the coup, which was largely devised by Saudi Arabia and the UAE's crown princes, was likely some weeks away from being implemented. Now, relations have normalized, okay, amongst the Gulf states at this point, but that was a real thing. That was a real thing that almost happened because Qatar did not bribe the Kushners, okay? It was also to influence U.S. to change its foreign policies towards Palestine. No, it wasn't. You want to know why it wasn't? Because if that was the case, Trump would have played ball, okay? And he didn't. The Gulf nations are so unimaginably wealthy, and Trump responds to bribes very positively. Why the fuck is Trump not responding to those bribes then? The only reason why Trump is not responding to those bribes is because they don't give a fuck about Palestinians. Do you understand? It's a very sad state of affairs, a very sad reality that many of you need to wake up to. And yes, this even includes Qatar. Qatar at least is neutral, okay, as far as its leadership goes. Qatar at least is neutral, or some of them are more positive towards Palestinian emancipation. But that's it. Like, they're what, you think if Mohammed bin Salman genuinely cared about this shit, genuinely cared about the genocide, he wouldn't be able to ask Trump, like, Mr. Trump, please something about doing a ceasefire. Wouldn't that be great? But of course, it never happened. Is there like proof, though? I'm struggling to understand. Proof of what? Proof of this? I mean, yeah, I told you it's from it's the Intercept's reporting. Unless you think the Intercept is fake, I guess. Maybe you do. I don't know. But their reporting is pretty fucking credible. It's one of the best outlets, especially under the first Trump administration. Yeah. The only country in that region that actually does care about the Palestinian plight is Yemen. That's it. And one might even have a cynical perspective on that and say, oh, it's because the Ansar Allah administration just withstood a civil war. It was very bloody. People were very upset at them, and they wanted to galvanize the entirety of Yemen and create a united front against Israel by attacking Israel. But no, I don't think so. I think there is genuine animosity towards Israel and American imperialism by every single person in Yemen, including, but not limited to, the Ansar Allah movement. Very proud and very resilient nation. And Iran? Yes, Iran. Kind of. Yes, Iran as well. Well, I would say Iran to a lesser degree than even Ansar Allah. You might say, well, Ansar Allah would have no weapons without Iran, and there's truth to that. Absolutely. Having said that, however, Iran also has a lot of capabilities, a lot of power to be able to at least restrain Israel a little bit further. They also are incredibly restrained themselves because they are also incredibly self-interested. Think about the only times where Iran has actually responded to Israel. It has only responded to Israel after Israel struck Iran directly. Okay? The only time Iran did not defend Hezbollah, Iran did not defend Hamas. There was a axis of resistance pact in the region that was, we've forgotten about it at this point because it's been 19 months since Israel started its genocide. But the axis pact, the axis of resistance pact in the region implied that if Israel were to engage in a bombing campaign as severe as what they did like a week into October 7, that Iran, Hezbollah, the IRGC forces in Iraq, and the IRGC forces in Syria were to open up a united front against Israel as a mechanism of deterrence, as a mechanism of punishment. This did not happen. And the reason why this did not happen is because Iran didn't do anything. Iran literally did not, did not push back until Israel bombed the fucking Iranian embassy. It was crazy. The only times where Iran has actually punished Israel or pushed back against Israel is when Israel has violated Iranian sovereignty. The only country in the fucking region that actually gives a damn at this point, that hasn't had its entirety of its leadership decapitated, that still has some power to respond to the best of their ability, is Yemen. Oh my God, we dived into so many different subjects here. How the fuck did we get here from Ukraine? Jesus Christ.
It is a combination of international relief organizations.
400 million jet.
Bro, there was an IRGC general in the same bunker as Nasrallah and one of the Iranian embassy in Syria. Do you think these guys weren't there to direct the war against Israel? Yes, they were offering. No, I'm not saying they weren't offering intelligence. Of course they were. But there's a difference between what you must do. There's a difference between what you must do versus what Iran was doing. The axis of resistance pact implied that there would be stronger penalties against Israel if they continued this death and destruction. And that never came. And Israel has shown the rest of the countries in the region that the only thing they back down from is countermeasures that actually harm Israel. Israel only responds to force. Iran did not defend Hezbollah is the dumbest thing you can say right now. Oh, were they supposed to hold their hand? Every rocket they had, Iran gave them. Hezbollah was always meant to operate independently. The resistance is purposely autonomous to ensure flexibility. You are very wrong in your assessment. I'm not even talking about Hezbollah. I'm talking specifically about, okay, so then Iran lost. Is that what you're saying? Iran tried its very hardest and then lost. Is that the argument that you're presenting then? I'm not discounting all of the material support that Iran offers to Hezbollah and the axis of resistance. I'm simply talking about Iran's capabilities. Iran isn't a part of NATO like Turkey. It can't just do whatever it wants in the region. It has to calculate its actions more. First, it wants in the region. Turkey is America's dog. Turkey is America's fucking lapdog. That's precisely the reason why Turkey hasn't shut off the entirety of the energy grid for Israel and simply just says, "Oh, we hate Israel. We hate Israel. 1 minute," and then does nothing. Yes, I do agree that they lost. Actually, sure, okay. I think Iran has more power as a military presence in the region and as a deterrence force against Israel than you are giving it credit. All right, let's continue.
With the President of the United States on it.
Hold on. First of all, it was not given to him personally. I understand the optics of it, but it was not given to him personally. It was given to the U.S. government. And under that standard, no U.S. government should ever receive any gifts from any foreign countries whatsoever. It's not given to him personally and not a violation of the
Why is he trying to transfer it to his personal library? He is.
Actually. Okay, again, he sent out a statement. This is way too...
I think MSNBC is going to talk about you later in the hour for what?
In the weeds. If you want to keep on going we can.
It's not in the weeds. It's a fundamental moral principle.
Okay, so under that fundamental moral principle then, can you acknowledge, though, that President Trump is getting more done in a less period of time than any president we've seen, while our prior president did not even know what year he got elected? You understand the contrast here?
What aboutism again? I'm not a defender of Biden.
I'm not saying President Trump is far better than the predecessor.
You have to defend the person you spent millions to elect.
I will defend every day of someone who ends an invasion.
That's all you do, isn't it?
Brings down the price of oil, who is revitalizing the American economy, who's brokering peace.
Oh God, the entire room is laughing at him.
Who stopped the potential nuclear war, who is bringing Iran to the table and bringing Russia to the table, someone who does not want armed conflicts with the greatest powers of our time. I will defend that endlessly.
You are living
what are you defending?
in a fantasy world of your own creation. So it's quite hard
You
to
can say
engage
that,
with.
but then disprove
But
it.
let's check on how Trump is doing in terms of diplomacy. Look, with the war in the Middle East, do you think it was a defensible decision to tell the Israelis you wanted Trump Gaza to agree for Israel to invade the Gaza Strip and to continue to murder thousands of innocent children and civilians in a pointless war?
I do think he's so super libbed up. It's like hard to pin him down, but I feel like he literally has like he's saying he's not defending Joe Biden, but I do feel like he's just positioned himself against Israel either because now he realizes that like what Israel is doing is atrocious, or because he somehow thinks that like Biden would have managed the situation better than Donald Trump. I don't know. Because if I recall our conversation, he was trying to both sides what Israel was doing, and then hyper focusing on like my commentary against Israel and also my commentary in defense of militant resistance against Israel's genocide. And someone who has that position, I feel like would not be like someone who genuinely thinks what Israel's doing is atrocious would probably not spend a good deal of time talking about how homophobic Hamas is or whatever. Because that's like introductory debate lording about Hamas being anti-LGBTQ. Because like, the fuck? Who kills more gay people, you think? Hamas or fucking Israel?
Is that in America's interest? Is that in humanity's
Well,
interest?
first of all, you should know something about Trump. There's something, if you realize with Trump over the last 10 years, he is quite the social media user and uses hyperbolic language at times. But let me ask you,
guys will have
in the
questions?
conflict of Israel versus Hamas, who's the good guy?
I believe both Hamas and the Israeli government are evil.
Oh, come on, dude. Come on. 19 months of genocide. Just fucking say between Israel and Hamas are the good guys. I don't think it's a controversial position, dude. Am I crazy? Like, you don't have to fucking dick ride Hamas. Between Israel and Hamas is clearly a better, more responsible party. Literally lower civilian to enemy combatant casualty ratings on October 7 than Israel's 19 months of fucking endless death and destruction, even if they were on the same fucking moral playing field. They're not on the same moral playing field because Hamas is a fucking resistance group born out of being orphaned by the Israeli occupation. But just looking at the numbers alone, if you were to say this fucking band of orphaned soldiers is the same as a nuclear nation state that is an apartheid colony, okay, a settler colonial apartheid state, even if you were to make that laughable fucking moralization, Hamas is literally better than Israel. Yes. From the normie perspective, Hamas is still bad because they're terrorists. Yeah, part of the reason why, from the normie perspective, people still say Hamas is bad because they're terrorists is because there's multiple factors at play here. Islamophobia, American foreign policy, Israeli foreign policy being a pivotal part of American foreign policy, endless amounts of fucking media demonization, and also a consistent amount of contextualization of Israeli violence, and only fucking saying that Hamas's violence is born out of their barbaric, rapist, monstrous nature. Okay? I think if more people were honest about it, if more people were open about it, like I am, and say the fucking truth, because like I'm not demanding people lie, okay? There's no reason to lie. There is no reason to fucking lie about any of this shit. You can openly say October 7 was a tragedy. It was atrocious. It was the violence that civilians were subjected to was an act of terror. It can totally be considered an act of terror. There were war crimes that took place. You can say all of that if you want. Those aren't incorrect statements to make. You just keep it at that and never actually discuss the much larger subject matter, the reason as to why October 7 happened, the desperation that the Palestinian resistance feels after 75 years at that point of fucking apartheid, then you're delusional. You're ridiculous. You're like a child. It's not like there's only, in the most reductive ways to describe this, there's only two reasons why October 7 happened, right? It either happened because Hamas are rapist, barbaric monsters who just like hate Jews and they just wanted to do activities against, violence against Jews, as many Jews as they possibly can, or they're a fucking ascetic band of orphaned soldiers that have literally created a spontaneous militia and trying to exercise any kind of militant action against this apartheid state that will cause the apartheid state to offer them some rights and potentially sovereignty. Every single time people talk about October 7th, they go, well, what were you expecting? Of course Israel was going to do this. What the fuck do you mean? Then you're basically saying that justifies October 7th. Okay? That's it. That's what you're saying then. Like, if you are coming to the table with the recognition that Israel is this unstoppable force, this natural disaster, then yeah, someone has to fucking stop this natural disaster. What is supposed to happen here? As I've said over and over again, people have this very weird, illogical position, okay? Nothing that Israel has done justifies October 7, but everything Israel has done since October 7 is justified because of October 7. And also, since Israel has been doing everything it can to kill every single Palestinian on the Gaza Strip since October 7, no one else is supposed to even respond to the things that Israel is doing at this point. What the fuck are we saying? What a ridiculous position. This doesn't make any sense. No human being would, if they were in the conditions that Palestinians are subjected to, no human being would go, oh no, what about international human rights? Hamas, in spite of these insane circumstances, has been insanely restrained. Hamas, despite these circumstances, has been insanely diplomatic. Hamas, despite these circumstances, has presented itself as a reasonable party that you can negotiate with. Get the fuck out of here. Israel, on the other hand, because it has all of the power in this process and all the backing of the most powerful nation on the fucking planet, has behaved like a belligerent madman, opening up a 7-front war while simultaneously trying to bring America into nuclear annihilation by potentially fucking striking Iranian nuclear targets. It's insane. It is a Nazi nation doing a live-streamed Holocaust. Of course people are going to try and fucking defend themselves against that. So yeah, it's ridiculous to go, both sides are bad, especially 19 months in this fucking genocide. Suck my dick. I hate this. I hate this conversation so much because people are so afraid of just like looking at this with one fundamental truth that every single person thinks they believe, but no one actually applies in this situation. Are Palestinians humans or not? Because if the answer is yes, they are humans. Yes, they have dreams. Yes, their lives are valuable. Yes, they should not be endlessly slaughtered, ruthlessly slaughtered. Then you have to understand that the metric ton of death and destruction that Israel has brought about the Palestinian population does deserve a response. What the fuck are we saying here? But many people, many liberals are very indecent. Okay? Many liberals are very indecent. They say, oh, both sides are bad. Both sides are bad. Okay, sure. Both sides are bad. Who's the responsible party? Do you actually want to manage this conflict? Do you actually want to solve this conflict? Or do you just want to sit there and act like you're morally superior because you live in fucking London? You go to Cambridge Union and you've never had to entertain the notion of your entire family being wiped out by American weapons overnight for the crime of being born on the other side of a fucking boundary that someone else placed upon you. Oh, sorry. Let's continue. Let's see what else he's going to say.
But I think also that there is no justification.
Are they equally?
There is no justification for the murder and mutilation of thousands of innocent people and children in the futile justification, Mr. Kirk, for invading hospitals, for bombing innocent populations and dragging out a war which is damaging Israel and the West's security.
You've made that point, but
well, it's not a point, it's a moral truth, isn't it?
Okay, yeah. It was also a moral truth that the war started because 1,300 Jews were killed and 200 were taken hostage.
Oh my God. Also, this is the reason why I would fucking destroy Charlie, whereas a libtard is going to have some hard times having a fucking back and forth with him here, despite the fact that they're also trying to like massage it in a way where it's like, well, you know, Hamas is bad too. No, fuck that, dude. Look at this guy. Hamas is pure evil. Both are evil. You are crazy. Hamas is pure evil. Brother, in comparison to Israel, Hamas is not pure evil. It's not even on the same zip code as evil. That is my point. And if you don't recognize that reality, you have to go look at the fucking simple fact that Israel has a 10-to-1 enemy combatant to civilian death rating versus Hamas is far lower. Okay? And no, This does not start on October 7 anyway. Israel has done an October 7 plus multiple times to the entire Palestinian population in Gaza with sieges. Okay? Go look at any metric over the course of the past 75 or now 77 years of military occupation and apartheid in Israel. I would love for any of these dipshits sit in this shit in the chat, sit here with their full chest and say if they experience the same thing that we've been experiencing for the last 77 years, that they would not resist and would not willingly, peacefully be ethically cleansed and exterminated for 3/4 of a century. Exactly. No, the only thing that they can rely on is that, oh no, it's just evil, la la la, I don't care. Okay, what would you do is the question. You would be way more evil because you're evil right now, okay? You are way more evil than Hamas by saying this, by entertaining the notion that there is any sort of parity between these two fucking parties, dude. It's ridiculous. It's not an accident that you have fucking lie about what Hamas is doing to try and justify it, but because Israel's depravity is so incredible. Israel's depravity is so incredible that even all the lies that people say about Hamas, oh, they're stealing aid. Oh, they have 8 babies strapped to their chests. Oh, they're actually using hospitals as a command and control center. Even all of those lies combined still does not make Israel look like the good party here. And that's precisely the reason why Israel is a pariah state, because all of those lies are exactly what they say on mainstream media all the time to try to contextualize Israel's violence, to try to justify Israel's violence against the Palestinian population. And even then, the overwhelming majority of Western society has had enough of this death and destruction. Okay? That's it. Yeah. Graph of casualties up to fucking 2024, dude. Look at that. Up to 2023, before October 7. Timeline of Israel-Palestine fatalities, 2008 to 2023. Damn, sure seems like one party does a lot more than the other. But thinking that Hamas isn't evil for some reason feels like a taboo. Yes, it is literally an incredible amount of propaganda. That's all this is. Also, you have to understand, no one is fucking perfect. Like, what are we talking about? The expectation that they have to be fucking angels is ridiculous. But in comparison to Israel, they come across like almost perfect fucking victims in this circumstance. It's like saying, here, there is a reason why no one actually thinks, okay, that John Brown or the slaves that were trying to free themselves during chattel slavery are fucking evil, because so much time has passed that we actually have the moral clarity of looking at the systematic harm that actually people were experiencing. We have the capacity to contextualize the resistance against that kind of systematic violence. So, of course, no one is going to spend a good deal of time talking about resistance tactics beyond the cold, hard, logical tactics of resistance and what may have worked and what may have not worked. I have that conversation all the time. And I'm sure there are plenty of people within the Palestinian resistance groups that also have those conversations all the fucking time amongst themselves. Should we kidnap Israelis? Should we take any hostages whatsoever? Should we do any kind of like missile strike operations as a mechanism of deterrence? But that's not the conversation that these people are having right now. Okay, the conversation that these people are having is like, well, Hamas lobbed missiles into Israeli territory. Isn't that fucking evil? Think about how scary that is, without recognizing that Israel blows up entire city blocks with no care or consideration for who's inside. As a matter of fact, knowing full well who's inside those fucking buildings, because they have the population registry of the entire Gaza Strip, and the Gaza Strip is under 24/7 surveillance. It is an unimaginable amount of cruelty that Palestinians are fucking subjected to. People go, oh, Hamas, well, in the past, when these operations were conducted over and over again, people will go, well, why is Hamas lobbing missiles? Like, those missiles sometimes hit, like, territories where there's even Arabs living, okay? And it's like, okay, give them fucking more equipped missile systems. Hasan, are you okay, dude? Why? What do you mean? Why? I am the most okay I've ever been. People trying to bait you, don't give them that reaction. New follower here. What? I know for many of you, when you hear me say these things, it irks you. Okay? I understand. because I'm not sheltering you from my opinion. I am telling you what my actual opinion is. I'm telling you what my actual opinion is by analyzing the situation, okay? And it's scary for the first time. When you first encounter this, you're like, everything I've learned, it means that, the bad guys, the evil guys are the guys that are, the Hamas. Hamas are the bad guys in this equation. I mean, Israel is just trying to deal with the bad guys. Yes. Cloud District Enjoyer, perhaps, even though he oftentimes has very libbed up perspectives, offers a very good analogy. I think you can still dislike Hamas if you recognize that there's 100% a primary actor here that's on a whole other playing field. I don't like wet socks or murder, but I recognize there's not even a real comparison between the two. Exactly. It's like saying, I don't like the Holocaust and what the Nazis did, but Easy Company was comprised of individuals that were quite homophobic. That's exactly the same comparison. I don't know about liberating the concentration camps, considering how homophobic, transphobic, anti-women, and openly segregationist the Americans that comprised Easy Company were, Oh, there's the chart with the injuries as well, which also has factors Gaza and the West Bank. This has injuries as well, and also has Gaza and the West Bank as well. It's the language you're using. I think we can understand Hamas the victim, but it's hard to like them or support under their plight when the argument is, oh, they just did a lot. Wait, what? Wait, what the fuck? What do you mean? Why is that so hard to understand? No, that is not hard to understand at all. What the fuck are you talking about? You're comparing genocide and systematic rape to what you suspect happened on October 7, and also there's no comparison, dude. It is literally like you're not even comparing apples to oranges. Again, you're comparing a wet sock to fucking. You're comparing wet socks to fucking a serial killer. Okay? What? This is, for the record, this is identical to Nazis trying to defend the clean Vermont theory while simultaneously fucking talking about how, well, the Red Army raped so hard. Did you know that? They were doing mass rapes in World War II. The American military was doing mass rapes in World War II against unsuspecting German women. It's like, yeah, I understand that there are additional bad actors on either side, but the notion of like parity here is so lost. There is no equivalence between what the Nazis were doing and what the Allied forces were doing. And the Allied forces, by the way, were a competent force, a state actor, as opposed to a non-state actor born out of a fucking concentration camp. It is ridiculous. This is not analogous at all. It's not analogous at all. I don't like that you're making me reckon with the reality that maybe Hamas is not the bad guys when I'm conditioned into thinking that they are. Yeah. No, Hamas is W. Crazy how you're just allowed on Twitch. Crazy how I am not saying anything that is out of pocket. You are just conditioned into thinking this is unacceptable. An actual terrorist on Twitch. You are relying on... Dude, what you are doing right now is if I were to cover what the partisans were doing against Nazi Germany as a good thing, which it was, okay, and you are a part of the in-group within Nazi Germany, you're like a German national going, excuse me, this is really fucked up. Have you not seen the Jewish terror that we're subjected to? That's all you're doing. That's literally all this is. And for the record, crying to the mods like this and demanding that I get deplatformed is not going to change the reality, okay? It's not going to change the truth. Yo, he got you, Hasan. Take the L, bro. You are a terrorist. Exactly. It's like, come on, bro. Just take it. You're a terrorist. It's mysterious, this word, terrorism. You just can say it, and then that's it. No contextualization, no analysis necessary as to why terror occurs, how terror occurs, what the motives are, who's the responsible party. I think we should do a game. Someone has the capacity to do this. Do a game where we put quotes up of Israeli politicians, okay, and also Hamas politicians. Hamas politicians and even leaders of the Al-Qassam brigades. And let's see who comes across like a terrorist, okay? That right there would be a very productive game, I think. That's fucked up. You knew what you were doing. I wonder if people will play that game. Throw some fucking Hitler quotes in there for good measure, too, to see if it's Benjamin Netanyahu who said it, or Adolf Hitler, or Moshe Feiglin. Every baby in Gaza is an enemy. This one is good. Zionism, what the fuck? Can you guess who said it? This quiz explores the similarities between Nazi Germany and Israel, both in writing and deeds. The basis for this comparison can be found in both projects' settler colonial nature. In Germany's case, with its occupation of Eastern Europe, General Plan Ost, and in Israel's case, with its occupation of Palestine, Syria, Lebanon, and more, Greater Israel. A common process of genocide, extermination, large-scale ethnic cleansing, and forced displacement can be seen. This similarity is not accidental. Early Zionist planners, like Arthur Rupin, were directly inspired by Germany's occupation of Posen. But the state of Israel was not created for the salvation of the Jews. It was created for the salvation of Western interests. This is what is becoming clear. I must say that it was always clear to me. The Palestinians have been paying for the British colonial policy of divide and rule and for Europe's guilty Christian conscience for more than 30 years. James Baldwin, Open Letter to the Born Again. There will be no mercy. We had the moral right. We had the duty towards our people to destroy this people that wanted to destroy us. Zionist. Oh, fuck. No. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, this is a tough one. This is, okay, I don't want to play this game. I don't want to play this game because this is impossible. Surprise. This was said by Reich leader SS Heinrich Himmler on the evacuation and extermination of the Jewish people, October 4th, 1943. All the group will be able to do about it is, oh yeah, by the way, if someone were to do the Hamas versus Israel quotes, you would have to, who's a terrorist in this party? And you put the Hamas quotes and you put the Israel quotes. You have to obviously not say the group that you're talking about. All the group will be able to do about it will be to scurry around like drugged roaches in a bottle. Nazi. In a committee of the Israeli parliament in 1983, General Raphael Eitam boasted of his triumphs in the West Bank. When we have settled the land, all the Arabs will be able to do about it will be to scurry around like drugged roaches in a bottle. For comparison, Tutsis are cockroaches. We kill you. Okay, this is way more difficult than this is insane difficulty. This is the most difficult game I've ever played in my entire life. Oh my God. Who said this? There is one and only one solution, which is to completely destroy members of the group. Okay, Nazi. Bro! Oh, brother. Okay, dude. 0-3? 0-3? Also, look who said it. Our friend of the show, Moshe Feiglin, who a couple days ago said every baby in Gaza is an enemy. That's who said it. Moshe Feiglin, Israeli politician and former Knesset member, said this in an interview with Al Jazeera. The terminology is reminiscent of Nazi propaganda, accurately describes Israel's actions today. There is one and only solution, which is to completely destroy Gaza before invading it. And when I talk about destruction, I mean destruction like it was in Dresden and Hiroshima without nuclear weapon. I don't recall that Biden or his predecessors, I don't recall that Americans provided safe humanitarian passageways to the residents of Nagasaki and Hiroshima. On the contrary, they looked for the weakest cities, and over there, they dropped their rockets to make it clear that they were serious. This is what brought an end to the war and saved the lives of 1 million American soldiers. Fuck. Those are animals. They have no right to exist. I am not debating the way it will happen, but they need to be exterminated. Okay. At this point, it's a fucking coin toss, and we're only 4 questions in, and I have no idea. I genuinely don't know. I'm gonna go Zionist. Y'all, thank God we got one. Holy fuck. This was said by Yoav Kish, Minister of Education. Like, this man is the Minister of Education and Minister of Regional Cooperation since December 2022. What kind of cooperation is he doing with the region? I do not admit that a wrong has been done to these people by the fact that a stronger race, a higher grade race, a more worldly wise race, to put it that way, has come in and taken their place. Okay, Nazi, easy. Stop! This one's crazy because I know this full quote. They duped me. This one's crazy because as Churchill in 1937, while speaking in favor of allowing Zionists to settle, stated that I do not admit, for instance, that a great wrong has been done to the Red Indians of America or the black people of Australia. Yeah, if I knew that it said the Red Indians, I would know, because it's a very famous Churchill quote that I use all the time. Also, to be fair, Churchill, I would go so far as to say, was both a Zionist and a Nazi. You know, he, depending on which time frame we're looking at, it's not like he was, he became very anti-Nazi, make no mistake. But, there was, depending on which time frame we're looking at, you could probably find some quotes where he was sympathetic to both causes, So this is a half point. This is a half point for me, I think. In 1902, Churchill stated that the great barbaric nations would menace civilized nations. Okay, even they also do okay, this is a half point. This is a half point. Because look, see, I told you. In 1902, Churchill stated that the great barbaric nations would menace civilized nations and that the Aryan stock is bound to triumph. That is a half point. I'm telling you, depending on which time frame you were looking at with Churchill, as this game also openly recognizes, Churchill could very easily be bracketed under the Nazi category. Having said that, he was a lifelong Zionist, but he stopped being a pro-Nazi guy when, obviously no longer was there any appeasement. So, okay, fuck it. I'll take the L. That's one, okay? That's 1 out of 5? 1 out of 5. I'm so cooked. How many? 21 questions, 1 out of 5 so far. We shall exterminate the group. The group will not get away with their responsibility for date. This day will be... Okay, that's fucking Zionist. The date? October 7. Come on. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. Dude. I'm sorry. That is crazy. This was said by Adolf Hitler while speaking to the Czech Foreign Minister Tchaikovsky on January 21st, 1939. We shall exterminate the Jews. The Jews will not get away with their responsibility for November 9th, 1918. This day will be avenged. I'm not throwing for the bit, dude. I'm not throwing for the bit. Also, November 9th, 1918 is the proclamation of the Republic. Faced with certain defeat of the German Reich in the First World War, the Social Democratic Philipp Scheidemann proclaimed the German Republic on this Saturday from a window of the Reichstag building, today the seat of the Bundestag. There were major food shortages and protests and rallies throughout the country. The population blamed Emperor Wilhelm II for the war and demanded his abdication. Most soldiers were tired of fighting as well and wanted the war to end. On the 9th of November, 1918, the emperor was forced to abdicate. Can someone explain why that's the Jews' fault? Because he's fucking stupid. He's a stupid anti-Semite. Just like the average Israeli politician is just as vicious towards Arabs and blames Arabs for everything. No, it's ridiculous because you know who fucking fought in World War I? Germans who were also Jews. Okay? This is, weirdly enough, every single Holocaust revisionist or every single guy who's just simply talking about how Hitler arrived at the positions he arrived at failed to consider. It is such an interesting perspective that you hear from the likes of whatever the fuck his face is, the one that was on the Joe Rogan Experience, the historian, the fake podcast historian, who basically tries to, no, not Douglas Murray, Daryl Cooper. Daryl Cooper will talk about how, like, well, of course these guys were, like, anti-Semitic because, like, think about it. They just came out of World War I. It's like, yeah, so did the fucking Jews in Germany, dumbass. They weren't doing Hitler. What do you mean? Like, the Jews in Germany were not like a separate entity. They were a part of German society. The idea that they were, somehow not also victim to the same conditions is really stupid. All right. 1 correct, 5 incorrect. That's fucked up. One of the soldiers raped a 16-year-old girl, laughing. They gathered them in something like a cage and put iron wires around them. They gathered all the men, sat them in the ground, and one of the soldiers got the submachine gun and shot them. There were soldiers who took flamethrowers and ran after the villages and burned them. Nazi. From the testimony about the 1948 Nakba made by Zionist soldier Yosef Diamant in an interview with the Israeli channel Hot 8. The events in Tantura were crazy and horrifying. Tantura was a rich village and had beautiful houses. Its residents lived like Europeans, you know, and the women of the village used to wear nice clothes. One of the soldiers raped a 16-year-old girl, laughing. Do you understand? The events were horrendous. They gathered them in something like a cage and put iron wires around them. And one of the soldiers got the submachine gun and shot them. They imposed a cover-up. There were soldiers who took flamethrowers and ran after the villagers and burned them. It was horrible. And no one is allowed to talk about that. I won't talk about it because it would be a big scandal. I don't want to talk about it. From Zionist soldier, we ran after the villagers and burned them in context. Okay, to be fair, to me, I only heard this in Hebrew. Like it's just like when you listen to, I've shown this literal fucking video so many times on this broadcast. It's crazy. Yes, this is L Gamer Moments. Okay, guys, can you fucking calm down, please? Yes, I'm bad at fucking video games, okay? Including this one. This is the worst GeoGuessr type game I've ever fucking performed in. Oh my God. Okay. That's 6 no's, 6 wrong answers, 1 correct answer. It's just sitting up there, by the way. It's just fucking sitting up there. This is way harder than America. Okay. This is like trying to defeat. This is like playing a DLC for any From Software game while also only using your fists. Okay. I am referring here to the evacuation of the group, the extermination of the group people. This is one of the things that is easily said, but then they came all along and each one has his one decent member of the group. I am referring here to the evacuation of the group, the extermination of the group of people. This one is one of those things that's easily said, but then they all came along and each one has his one decent member. Zionist. Okay, I'm going to start flipping a coin to see if the performance improves. Okay, I'm going to start Okay, we've done 8 of these so far, and I've gotten only 1 correct. So I am going to leave my fate in the hands of this Zintin. Okay, top or bottom, and I'm going to answer if it is. If I am going to answer Zionist if it's top and Nazi if it's bottom, okay? Because I think that it might be easier for me to do it that way. Okay, or here, we can just do that. Yeah, okay. Heads means Zionist, tails means Nazi, okay? I don't like this game anymore. This is the hardest game I've ever played in my whole life, dude. This is actually fucked up. Okay. So we got heads versus tails right here. Fuck. This was said by Reich leader Heinrich Himmler on evacuation and extermination of the Jewish people. I'm referring here to the evacuation of the Jews, the extermination of the Jewish people. This is one of those things that's easily said. The Jewish people are going to be exterminated. That's what every party member says. Sure, it's in our program. Elimination of the Jews, extermination. It'll be done. And then they all come along, the 80 million worthy Germans, and each one has his own decent Jew. Of course, the others are swine, but this one, he is a first-rate Jew. Of all of those who talk like that, not one has seen it happen. Not one has to go through with it. Okay, these people must be destroyed. They are no longer human beings. They are animals. Okay, heads or tails, okay? Heads means Zionist. Tails means Nazi. Heads. Heads means Zionist. Shut the fuck up! Fuck you! Even the coin is not working! After visiting imprisoned Jews in Lodz ghetto in Nazi-occupied Poland in 1939, Nazi Minister of Propaganda Joseph Goebbels wrote in his diary, "They are no longer human beings, they are animals. Thus our task is no longer humanitarian but surgical. We must cut here, and quite invasively, otherwise Europe will perish from the Jewish disease." Who said this? Region never progressed beyond certain primitiveness. It has never even known anything but chaos because it lacked mankind, the valuable bearer of culture, the genius who systematically planned peaceful reconstruction, who ordered the well-designed exploitation of the immense treasures and the fertility of the soil. This country has only known the powers of unrestricted despoiling and brutal armament for war. Okay, heads means Zionist, tails means Nazi. I'm going to tell you what my opinion is as well. Fuck it, why not? I think this is a Zionist, okay? I think this is a Zionist. I think it's a Zionist, and chat seemingly is unified that it's a Zionist. Let's see what the coin says. Okay, heads, Zionist. This is the hardest game I've ever played in my entire life, dude. What the fuck is going on? This was stated by Heinrich Himmler about Eastern Europe, Nazi Germany, Zionist Israel, and all other forms of European colonialism justified and are still justifying their actions as civilizing missions. Oh. Okay, this one's easy. Who said this? This is the war between sons of light and sons of darkness. Benjamin Netanyahu said this. We will not let up our mission until the light overcomes the darkness. The good will defeat the extreme evil that threatens us. This is a fucking Benjamin Netanyahu said this. Oh, thank God. Oh my God, I got one. Oh, I didn't even use the coin on this. This is mine. This is my victory. This is my W. This is my fucking victory. The Benjamin, I even gave you who said it. Oh my God, I didn't use the coin. Thank God I didn't use the coin. Let's see what the coin would have said. See? The coin would have failed. The coin would have failed. And I saved us, boys. I fucking saved us. We're back. I am getting every single one of these right going forward. Are you ready? It's called One Frame, Elite Gamer. This group has deserved the catastrophe that has now overtaken them. Their destruction will now go hand in hand with the destruction of our enemies. We must hasten the process with cold ruthlessness. Okay. I don't know. It could be either. Every single one of them is either. But I'm resorting to the coin. Tails, Nazi. Yes! The coin! This was said by propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels. I would have literally said Zionist, by the way. I would have actually said Zionist. Okay, but it doesn't matter because the coin saved us. Okay, I told you, we're getting all of them right going forward. Something like a cage has to be built for them. I know it sounds terrible. It's really cruel, but there's no choice. There is a wild animal there that has to be locked up in one. Okay, that's a Nazi, but we're going to resort to the coin again. That's definitely a Nazi. Let's see what the coin says. Heads. Coin says Zionist. Coin got it right! This was said by Israeli historian Benny Morris on January 7, 2004. He was a professor of history in the Middle East Studies Department of Ben Gurion University in the Negev in the city of Beersheba, Israel. From 2015 to 2018, Morris served as the Goldman Visiting Israeli Professor in Georgetown University's Department of Government. Oh my God. Benny Boy also got owned by Norm Finkelstein alongside Sex Pestany, if you remember. Wow. Wow. What a situation. Hold on. I lost the fucking... Well, the coin saved me. The coin saved me. The coin saved me. Boys, the coin saved my ass. Okay? The coin saved my ass. Okay, next. The right to exercise national self-determination in speaker's country is unique to the speaker's ethnic group of people. Okay, I think this is a Zionist. Let's see what the coin says, because the coin hasn't failed me yet. I think this is a Zionist, though. Okay? Coin says Zionist as well. Okay, or no, coin says Nazi. Heads is right? What was it? Oh, tails was Nazi. Heads is Zionist, tails is Nazi. I think this is a Zionist. Coin says it's a Nazi. I was right. Wait, oh, heads was Zionist. Fuck! That's a gimme. That's a gimme. That's a do-over. I said it was a Zionist. Coin said it was a Zionist. I was wrong. I fucked it up. I fucked it up. Heads meant Zionist. I fucked it up. I'm sorry. That doesn't count. That actually is one for us. That is one for us. I said it was a Zionist, and so did the coin. Okay? I am fumbling. Oh my fucking God. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is an excerpt from the nation state bill passed in the Knesset on 19th of July, 2018, the right to exercise national self-determination in the state of Israel is unique to the Jewish people. This law clearly exposes the Zionist lie that Palestinians have equal rights in Israel. Human Rights Watch described it as the explicit manifestation of apartheid. We saw the passage of the nation-state law, which codified constitutional value. The idea of one group of people on the ground has rights denied to the other. When we put all those things together, it became impossible to say that there was not a clear intent to dominate. Okay. The weak crumble, are slaughtered, and are erased from history, while the strong, for good or for ill, survive. The strong are respected, and alliances are made with the strong, and in the end, peace is made with the strong. Okay, that's a Nazi. Easy. Let's see what the coin says, though. That's easy Nazi. Okay, coin says heads. Heads is Zionist. I think it's a Nazi, but the coin says Zionist. Let's take a look. Shut the fuck up! Everyone in the chat is throwing up N for Nazi. All of you were wrong, and the coin was wrong. Wow. Netanyahu made the remarks on Twitter on August 29th, 2018, while threatening to use nuclear weapons to wipe out the country's enemies. For comparison, an excerpt from Hitler's speech in Munich: the whole of nature is a mighty struggle between strength and weakness, an eternal victory of the strong over the weak. Oh, the coin knows. Okay. Thank God the coin is saving my ass right now. National Speakers Group will make the ancient soil fertile. That soil was unproductive for others, but for us, it was good soil because we okay, this is fucking Zionist. This is Zionist. Israel, made the desert bloom, that type of shit, right? But we're going to refer to the coin regardless. It says Nazi. I think it's a Zionist. Coin says Nazi. Let's take a look. There it is. It was, of course, yes. We were right. The coin was wrong. The coin actually fucking failed us. This was a classic. This was easy. This was easy clap. Theodor Herzl, father of modern political Zionism, envisaged the Jewish redemption of the land along the following lines. National Judaism will make the ancient soil fertile. It seems miraculous. Everything natural is miraculous. Once the nation, which we Zionists are arousing, is fully awakened, things will happen swiftly and dynamically. Then the nation will behold us, its ancient land, beautifully situated on the Mediterranean, with regions of cold, moderate, and warm climate, a land suited for any kind of cultivation with long dormant natural resources. This is similar to common Zionist slogans like making the desert bloom. See, I told you, I knew that. I got it right. I got it right for the record. Can the record show? I mean, this is wrong. This is right. I probably got 10 right at this point, and maybe a couple half wrong, but it does feel like just forget this game. We played this game. Don't even think about it, actually. The score on the top right, what do you mean? It doesn't show the score at all. Why would you say there's no score on the top right? If I went against the coin, I knew it was a Zionist take, I would have won this one. I think we should chalk it up as a W. Invoking neglected soil is, as Edward Said has shown, a typical articulation of the colonial belief that Europe understood the value of land in a way impossible for the natives, a marker of non-civilization, neglected soil. Justify colonial rule over both land and the people. Be triumphant and finish them off, and don't leave anyone behind. Erase the memory of them. Erase them, their families, mothers, and children. These animals can no longer live. If you have a member group neighbor, don't wait. Go to his home and shoot him. Okay, this is a Nazi. This is a Nazi. This has to be a fucking Nazi. But let's see what the coin says. Coin says Zionist. Oh! The coin. The coin. Trust in the coin. You didn't trust in the coin last time. I trusted in the coin. The coin delivered. Okay? Let's be real. Coin's got currently a better track record than me. Oh my fucking God. I'm not even joking. The coin is literally beating me. The coin is fucking beating me in this game. How is that possible? Leaving this up to a 50-50 chance has caused me better favor in this fucking thing than... The coin is actually going 50-50. I was going 1 out of 7. This was said by Ezra Yachin, who was brought into IDF official vehicles to give a pep talk to Israeli soldiers before Israel's 2023 ground invasion of Gaza. 95-year-old Ezra Yachin is also, by the way, which one is it? Is it Yachin or Yachin? Is also a veteran of the Deir Yassin massacre, one of the most horrific crimes during the Nakba. By the way, I've also shown you this video, and I also thought it might be that guy, but... I was like, it's got to be a fucking Nazi. Okay. All right, let's go next. Even 1 million members of the group are not worth a fingernail of speakers group. Oh, this is fuck. I don't know anymore. I don't fucking know. I wanted to prove a point about how Zionism and Nazism are so compatible with one another, and it turns out it's literally they say the same shit. They say that it's 18 quotes. I've given up. I don't know. I don't fucking know. It could be both. Why not both? It's a Zionist and a Nazi. It's bar for bar. I don't know. I don't know anymore. It's a fucking Venn diagram that's a circle. Oh, this is the most difficult game of my life, dude. Okay. I'm going to get it right. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know if this was a Nazi. I think maybe a Nazi. I think a Nazi said this. Let's see what the coin says. Heads. Okay, coin says Zionist. Let's see. Oh, thank God the coin is right. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my fucking God. Oh my God. This might be my worst game that I've ever played on this fucking broadcast. Rabbi Yaakov Perrin, in homage to Baruch Goldstein, told mourners that even 1 million Arabs are not worth a Jewish fingernail. And angry voices in the congregation shouted, "We are all Goldsteins and Arabs out of Israel." On February 25th, 1994, Goldstein, dressed in an Israeli military uniform, entered a mosque in the Cave of the Patriarchs and opened fire on the 800 Palestinian Muslim worshippers praying there during the month of Ramadan, killing 29 and wounding 125 worshippers until he was beaten to death by the survivors. In responding to this act of Zionist terrorism, Israel did not punish extremist settlers, but instead imposed more restrictions on the Palestinian population. Bro, Chatter said, can we please look at the sources? Are you fucking stupid? You think the Cave of the Patriarchs massacre didn't happen? Like, what are you talking about? It's one of the most famous fucking acts of direct Zionist terror in Israeli history. Here, I'll give you someone who's talking about it. Roll the fucking loner box clip talking to a defender of Baruch Goldstein. Who has the clip? See it here. Fact sheet from the Institute of Middle East Understanding, the Ibrahimi Mosque massacre. Also, the sources are on the website. Go play the game on your own if you want. Here it is. Here is famous, according to Ethan Klein, Palestinian defender, loner box on a propaganda trip to Israel, talking to one of the settlers who is a defender of Baruch Goldstein. I wonder if they will call into question some of the actions that we just described.
2,000-year-old building, and you see that people come here, all kinds of Jews. It's an important site.
Okay. Jewish and Muslim sites are really close together.
Yeah, there's a door.
So when Mr. Goldstein did his thing, did you look at
Mr. Goldstein.
Dr. Goldstein.
When Mr. Goldstein did his thing and he corrects him, he goes, Dr. Goldstein.
He didn't go to doctor school for you to call him Mr., but he was, you have to understand what the situation there was, and I'm in no way am I justifying his act.
Not justifying his act. Okay, that's good.
We completely abhor that act and have no justification for it. That being said, to understand the milieu of what was happening there, there was tremendous terrorism. He was a known doctor who had treated Arabs and Jews, and was a really kind of famous doctor around here. But there was a lot of terrorism. A lot of his friends died in his hands, and the army told him that on Purim of that year, there's going to be a massacre, get more beds ready, and he snapped, or whatever happened there, and he shot up these Muslim worshippers. And after that, they separated this building.
Yeah, I don't think Dr. Goldstein actually treated Arabs, as a matter of fact. I think that's a lie as well. I don't believe that that is correct. Oh, look at that. Profile. Healer and militant. Killer. Chose violence. Profile. Gunman doctor who often refused to treat Arabs. According to the Los Angeles Times. This is the first fucking thing that came up. Wow. Well, it seems like he was lying. Seems like this Baruch Goldstein defender was fucking lying about that. Hold on. I'm going to laser this. Zap it away. Look at that. Look at that. That's crazy. Healer and militant. Killer chose violence. Profile. Gunman, a doctor who often refused to treat Arabs, was an extremist whose views only hardened. I don't get it. What is this video from? Are these guys in Israel? These are two famous Israel dick riders. One famously is a sex criminal, sex pest, who said he loves that Israel is doing a genocide and it should just do a genocide and get it over with. And the other, who at least like at a certain point claimed that he was pro-Palestinian. Don't know if he still does, but refuses to say that Israel is doing a genocide right now. They're both in the West Bank talking to, I believe, Itamar Ben-Gvir's direct advisor, who is a supporter of, who is a fucking liar? What? Oh, you said no drama. Oh, that's what you're talking about. Yeah. Not only, by the way, this guy is a known sex pest because he fucked this guy's girlfriend and then revealed footage of this guy fucking this guy's girlfriend to other people, by the way. Don't know if they're still dating or not. He still defends him, though, weirdly enough. I don't know. Yeah, he did. He basically distributed revenge porn of him having sex with this guy's girlfriend without the consent of the other party. Yeah. Just if you want to understand like how fucking depraved these people are. These are the people who criticize you for an uncritical interview with a Houthi they claim is a Houthi. Like the well of depravity, for defenders of Israel is, I mean, it's a strange one. It is a strange one. Can we admit that it's just strange to still have any sort of loyalty to this other guy? Boner recently said with his whole chest it'd be anti-Semitic to give Palestinians equal rights to, so make of that what you will. Okay. All right. Let's do 3 more questions. God damn it. What's so horrifying about understanding that the entire group of people is the enemy? Okay. This is a Zionist. A Zionist has said that. Okay. A Zionist said that. Let's see. Heads, tails. Okay. Tails. Coin says Nazi. I think Zionist. Let's take a look. Okay. I was right. Coin was wrong. Fuck the coin. I was right. Coin was wrong. This was said by Ayelet Shaked, who served as Israel's Minister of Justice from 2015. A lot of justice he dished out from 2015 to 2019, and Minister of Interior from 2021 to 2022. And he said this on June 30th, 2014. What's so horrifying about understanding that the entire Palestinian people is the enemy? Every war is between 2 peoples, and every war, the people who started the war, that whole people is the enemy. They are all enemy combatants, and their blood shall be on their heads. Now this also includes the mothers of the martyrs, who send them all to hell with flowers and kisses. They should flag and going, we have to kill their offspring, because if we don't, then their offspring will produce more offspring. Here it is. Offspring is the most villainous word you can use for the children in this type of situation.
When there is a war, it doesn't matter who your enemy is. You need to destroy their offspring to prevent them from creating more offspring.
Cool. Just so you know, that's I think that's recent. So if you were just like wondering what the Israeli position is, maybe it's different from the Israeli politicians, but it seems like it's not. Okay. All right. Well, the coin fucked us here. We knew that it was a Zionist. Who said this? We must expel group and take their place. Okay. This is a Zionist. This is a Zionist. This is a Zionist. It's got to be like, it's going to be like Jabotinsky or something. Okay. It's going to be Jabotinsky, I suspect. But let's give it to the coin again. Trust the coin. Trust the coin. Trust the coin. Tails. Coin says Nazi. I say Zionist. Let's take a look. Oh, I was right again. Oh, it was David Ben-Gurion. It wasn't Jabotinsky. Holy fuck. Okay. Okay. Well, the coin was wrong. I was right. This was this was an easy one too. We shouldn't have left it to the fucking coin on that. That was an easy one, but we got to trust the coin. We got to trust the coin. Quoted from David Ben-Gurion's 5th of October 1937 letter to his son, where he discusses the 1937 recommendation by the Palestine Royal Peel Commission to partition Palestine. Given the density of the Arab population in the area allotted to the Jewish state, the commission recommended that 225,000 Arabs be transferred out of the proposed Jewish state, and that this transfer be, in the last resort, compulsory. In exchange, 1,250 Jews were transferred from the proposed Arab state. Wow, look at the numbers. Look at the fucking disparity there. Nothing has changed. All right, last question. The group wanted war. Now they have it. There is only one effective measure. Cut them out. Okay, Zionist. Zionist. It's a Zionist. He's talking about, okay, he says tails. He says Nazi. Coin says Nazi. I say Zionist. This could literally be fucking... This could be any number of... this could be a liberal Zionist. This could be an ultra Zionist. I still think it's a Zionist. Coin says Nazi. I'm ignoring the coin and I'm going Zionist. Shut the fuck up! Fuck you! Fuck you! Hey! Fuck! Fuck! Oh! Are you kidding me? Oh. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. The one time I said, fuck the coin, I'm so certain I should have trusted the coin. That's crazy. 7 right, 14 wrong. Fine. Okay. What do you want? You want attention? Okay. Oh, here we go. All right. Hello. Oh. Hello. Oh, no. Oh, no. You're going to spill. Oh. She doesn't give a fuck that she's spilling.